Davis is the founder of the Article 3 Project. These legal experts join me now. Gentlemen, Jason Miller just laid out the politics, but we could see courtrooms and judges driving the calendar as much as the debate schedule. Dan Bishop, how are voters going to sort it out, and what legal proceedings do you think matter most?
You know, the amazing thing, Matt, is that the American people, what they're witnessing in the indictments, a judge in Louisiana recently said that the FBI, by censoring millions of Americans' social media posts, had committed what was probably the most massive attack against free speech in the United States history. But the Justice Department and now the prosecutor in Georgia have said, hold my beer. They've gone even farther to take what is political activity and to criminalize it. I don't believe American people are going to put up with that. I think they're going to flock to President Trump as a consequence. And I just cannot imagine what the results are going to be for Democrats. I think it's going to be a catastrophe across the board. Even among Democrats, they're going to decide that's not the way our government needs to operate.
Mike Davis, you're a veteran of these oversight battles. Here's my worry. It's so much information. You've got the hearings, the indictments. Help us out of the D.C. vortex. Tell us what's breaking through.
I mean, this is obviously lawfare by Democrats. It's obviously election interference. It's on 5 different fronts. You have Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg bringing an indictment against Trump for the non-crime of a businessman settling a nuisance claim. You have Jack Smith bringing an indictment against Trump for the non-crime of a former president having his presidential records, which is allowed by the Presidential Records Act. You have Jack Smith and now Fani Willis charging Trump for the non-crime of objecting to a presidential election, which is allowed by the Electoral Count Act of 1887. Twisting arms politically is allowed by the First Amendment. And then you have New York Attorney General Tish James bringing a civil fraud lawsuit against Trump for the non-fraud of a businessman paying back sophisticated Wall Street banks with interest. This is lawfare. You're seeing it, in the polls.
If twisting arms politically is a crime, I have a lot of people that we're going to need to report, and we're probably going to need a lot more jails. Now, Dan Bishop, ongoing investigation is something that we will hear a lot when we try to get answers. I've suggested loudly we ignore this, that we proceed with subpoenas and with contempt if necessary. Your thoughts?
One of your favorite phrases, Matt, and mine as well, is the subpoenas need to fly. We need to get far deeper, far more aggressive about sending subpoenas out. This idea of it's a pending or an ongoing lawsuit or legal case or prosecution, we cannot allow that to stop. They've used that to weaponize and to blunt and stonewall Congress. They know they're doing that. There's no reason for us to stop at that point. We need to get resolutions to enforce subpoenas on the floor of the House of Representatives. We should not relent. You know, our Weaponization Select Subcommittee, Matt, is, as you know, supposed to have all the resources and all the staff of the January 6th committee. We need to see that expansion and that aggressiveness.
Dan Bishop says do not relent. Now, Mike, each of these prosecutors coming for Trump seems to have issues with the statutes that they're seeking to enforce, whether it's Fani Willis and her problems with RICO or Jack Smith and his problems going after political opponents. Do you go after the worst conduct from some of these prosecutors, or do you lump them all in together and make them one big gang?
Well, I mean, it's obviously that they're working together. You saw Fani Willis at her press conference. She declined to comment when that reporter asked her if she's working with the Biden Justice Department, including Jack Smith. So it's obvious collusion. It's not a coincidence they waited 30 months after Trump left office to bring these indictments and then demand trials 2 months apart leading up to the presidential election. This is obvious election interference.
Unrelenting and focused. That's Representative Dan Bishop and Mike Davis. Thank you both so much for joining us.